White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller and other conservatives are accusing a group of Democrats of calling for an insurrection.
The coalition of former intelligence and service members, which includes Senators Alyssa Slotkin and Mark Kelly, urged military intelligence community and intelligence community personnel to defy any illegal orders. Let's watch.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
Many conservatives on X appeared flabbergasted over the video. Miller wrote on X, "Democrat lawmakers are now openly calling for an insurrection." And Ruthless podcast co-host Josh Holmes writes, "We recommend light to moderate treason for reasons, #ship. What a hilariously disconnected message. We won't say why you need to do the treasons, but trust us, it's the Constitution."
Now, the Trump administration has carried out multiple deadly airstrikes on alleged Venezuelan boats since September. Some lawmakers have pressed the White House as to whether service members can be held legally responsible if the strikes are later determined to be unlawful.
Look, I have honestly no basic problem with this idea. If someone who serves in the government was told to shoot someone in the face, I hope they would question it and not do it. I'm not sure, like, what are the illegal orders they're referring to here? Are they saying that, for instance, the National Guard troops who are here in D.C. helping to deter crime and keep order, it's been wildly successful, that they should refuse to do that? I mean, if you're broadly uncomfortable with the government's doing, you should not work for the government. If you are not happy with what military superior officers want you to do, this is not the role for you. But if for the military to function, for unit cohesion to be successful, the way the military works, right, is generally that you carry out, you follow the orders. It's not, we don't hold this little committee hearing where we decide whether we're going to do what we're told to do. That's like not how the military works. But yes, if you are told to do something blatantly, flagrantly wrong or immoral, don't do it. And if you are regularly confronted with that quandary, then you don't belong in the military, is what I would say. I'm not sure what specifically they're referring to here. And What I think they have in mind is just the way the Trump administration is using the military, which they don't agree with, which is a totally separate question.
Yeah, I think you're right? You have an option, just exit the military, right? But I think that there's also a larger question of like the over-militarization in the last few months of our servicemen and women, right? When we had that meeting with Pete Hegseth and President Trump that no one knew what it was, and they gathered all these leaders in the military together, and some quotes that came out of that were to treat American streets kind of like a testing ground, and President Trump was being criticized for his harsh language there. People were like, wait, are we like declaring war within the U.S. and changing the name of the department to the Department of War, and then, changing, which we talked about in Venezuela, narcotics missions, which are usually voted on and talked about through Congress, into terrorism missions, and then just blanket skipping over Congress and having these servicemen and women commit these acts that leave people dead. One in specific from the New York Times, a family member of a Caribbean family that says, my son was just in Venezuela and now he's dead. And so I think that there's so much going on here and so much at stake where, yes, your job is to follow the rules of the president, but a lot of people have paused. Even people like Rand Paul have paused about some of these orders.
I am similarly concerned about what's going on and worried that it's not constitutional. That's a question, though, for the administration, for Congress. It's not really, in my view, a question for ordinary service members who should generally carry out the orders given to them.
Yeah,
right?
It would certainly be
the idea that they're the primary bearers of the responsibility here is not.
Well, they're the ones that have to go to bed at night for following through with the action.
Well,
and I think that it would become this huge tension if our service members questioned everything that the government had ordered historically, right? Like, don't go into Afghanistan, then we wouldn't be able to operate, right? It would be too esoteric of ideas discussed, and like that's what Congress is for. If the president skips over Congress,
let's give that message to the message that Alyssa Slotkin and the others. Let's give that message to Congress and to the administration. Not really put this on the service members themselves, is what I would say.
Coming up, I'll be discussing how President Trump is threatening to pull World Cup matches if certain governors and mayors hosting them don't, quote, behave. Stick around.